What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State basketball continues their run here in the Fort Myers tip-off, this time on Thursday, Thanksgiving at 4:30 on Fox against number 16th ranked North Carolina. Now, this is a matchup that Michigan State has played North Carolina the last 2 years. 2 years ago, obviously played in that round of 32 game that Michigan State came up short in, and then the infamous Tom Izzo quote after the game, "I'm getting back to a deeper run in this tournament or I'm a die trying." And then the rematch last year in Maui, this was on Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, and that was an absolutely incredible game. Incredible, but also very stressful. At the time, my wife walks in the door. I mean, at the time, fiance, my now wife, walks in the door at about 11:30, whatever. We were the late game that day. She walks in, I'm, hands on my knees about 5 feet from the TV, pouring sweat. I had to change my shirt after the game. It was a mess, but it was a fun one. Came out on top. But anyway, expecting another good game in this one, a good matchup. Michigan State favored by about 2.5 right now. Expected to be a close one. But before we don't jump into this matchup, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we will start here with North Carolina. Now, they're coming in, as I said, number 16th ranked in the country, 6-0 on the year so far. They did beat number 19th ranked at the time, Kansas, 87-74, their second game of the year. Besides that, in the first game of this Fort Myers tip-off, they beat St. Bonaventure 85-70. And as we said, Michigan State obviously coming in 6-0 on the year as well, with the win against East Carolina, first game in the Fort Myers tip-off, 89-56. Now, when we look at North Carolina, they are led by the freshman Caleb Wilson. He's playing about 28 minutes a game for them, 21 points, 10 rebounds. As a freshman, almost 2 steals and 2 blocks as well. 62% from the field, 76% from the line, 40% from three. Very impressive. Hasn't shot a lot of threes on the year, though, only 2 for 5. But just very good freshman, obviously one of the top freshmen in the country. Then Henry Vizier, one of their 7-footers there, 16 points a game on 9 rebounds, almost 2 blocks as well. Very impressive. Seth Trimble, name that's been around college basketball for a while. He plays 30 minutes for them, about 15 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal for them. Luka Bogovac, hope I said that right, about 12 points on the year for them as well. Then you got Kaya Evans, about 9 points, Jaren Stevenson, about 8 points for them and 5 rebounds. But when you look at North Carolina as a whole, a very good rebounding team. We said that last week for Michigan State that when they played against Kentucky, that was going to be one of the best rebounding teams that they face. This is another one of those really good rebounding teams, about 46 rebounds per game, which on the year is actually about 2-3 points or 2-3 rebounds better than what Michigan State is at so far this year. And we know Michigan State to be a good rebounding team, so this is another one, especially with their length. When you look at North Carolina's roster, they have a couple 7-footers on the team. They have 6'10", 7 foot, 6'10", 7 foot. So very, very lengthy team there is North Carolina. That obviously helps them on the boards, and also helps them getting blocks. They have 5 blocks per game on average, which is about what Michigan State is at currently on the year as well. But 17.7 assists per game, a very good assist rate team, about 46 in the country. Obviously, Michigan State still sitting at 1 there in terms of assist rate, but very impressive so far for North Carolina. About 7 steals, 5 blocks, as we said. Turn it over about 12 times on the year, about 34% from 3. So I'd say above average, slightly above average overall from 3 for them on the year. And then just kind of looking at some, kind of key stats for them to look at coming into the game. Almost 15 fast break points per game. And then we talked about their assists per game. They're 67th in assist to turnover ratio. So obviously they do average quite a few assists, but those almost 12 turnovers kind of brings them down, just slightly, but still a solid overall assist to turnover ratio in the top third or so of the country. But overall, you're looking at North Carolina. They're a top 35 offense and defense, just sneaking in 35th offensive adjusted efficiency, 13th in adjusted efficiency defense. And then you move down a 3-point percentage. They're about 151st so far, 48th in 2-point percentage though. 3-point defense, 129th in 3-point percentage defense, but they are second in 2-point percentage defense. So a good defensive team in this one. Could see a defensive battle for a little bit, but I think some points are going to be scored in this one too. As we talked about, their assist rate 46th currently, and then adjusted tempo 45th. They're going to get out and play fast, kind of loop that into the 15 fast break points per game so far on the year. And when you look at Michigan State, what has been successful this year for Michigan State? First off, it's obviously defend, rebound, run. That's what it's always going to be here. That's going to, translate to success here. But what we've seen over the last couple games, really the Kentucky game on, is an uptick in 3-point shooting for Michigan State. And it's been not just one guy, but, a plethora of guys on the roster hitting down shots. Jeremy Fears hitting down a couple shots, a couple of those games. But then you look at Kurt Hang, Trey Fort knocking down 1 or 2 here or there. Cohen Carr has been able to hit some. Jackson Kohler, last game was perfect from the field, perfect from 3, obviously. So it's been the whole team that's been able to knock them down. Divine Ugochukwu we saw last game. Jesse McCullough we've seen down hit 1 or 2. So that's been a solid improvement so far this year. If they can continue to do that and shoot, I don't expect them to shoot 50% from 3 every game. But as we said, coming into the year, if you can shoot mid-30s per game, that can do a lot and can make this team pretty scary, because I think their floor is what's, their floor is kind of set, but I think their ceiling continues to raise when they start hitting shots and they keep those turnovers, between 8 and 12, whatever, and they're getting the production from the 2-guard position. It hasn't been like a dominant one person has taken stranglehold of that 2 position, but if we can get, on any given night, we can get, 12 points from one of the 2-guard positions or one of the 2-guard, rotation players. And then, maybe 7 and 5 from, if you can combine for say like 17, 18 points from the 2-guard position, add a couple rebounds, maybe a couple assists, as well. Then I think you're getting what you need out of that 2-guard position. But as well as last game, Divine Ugochukwu, I don't think he's going to be averaging 16 points a game, but if he can just provide that off the bench, as we kind of talked about, just that, kind of buffer for Jeremy Fears to, hey, get those couple minutes of rest, to kind of rejuvenate. We don't want Jeremy to be playing, don't want to be playing 35, 38 minutes a game. He can, if we need to, in an NCAA tournament game or a big must-win game, but we don't want to have to do that, at this point so far in the season. So if Divine can continue to do and grow those minutes, and, if you have a lead, keep it, or if Jeremy has to come off and, the score is down, you don't want it to get worse, maybe improve or just keep it steady. Because Jeremy is such a game changer. I mean, leading the country, obviously, in assists per game and whatnot. But in this game, obviously, Jackson Kohler, we saw have a really good bounce back game. He's had a good start to the season. But, 2 games ago against Detroit Mercy, not the best game his numbers got there, but really good bounce back game. Obviously, didn't miss from the field, at 8 rebounds as well. So a solid game there. And then I think the lob threats. I think the bigs, as they've kind of had all year, are going to play a key factor in this one. And Carson Cooper, what he does on the pick and rolls to the rim, from Jeremy as well. And I think that's just a lethal combination. But obviously Cohen Carr as well in transition, and we're seeing more of Cohen Carr of getting more off the dribble and off the bounce. And I definitely think that's something that we'll continue to see develop. I don't think that part of his game is fully there yet, but if he can hit a knockdown 3 here or there, that'll be big. And then taking it off the dribble, we saw him been able to do that, get to the rim. And then if we can see that playmaking a little more, we saw his assists seems like go up a little bit this year so far. But if we can see that and then maybe hit a little pull-up shot, if he can get a little floater into his game, I think that, just adds even more to his game so far. And going forward will help for Michigan State, obviously. But Michigan State still sitting around 47th in adjusted efficiency offense, still standing at 6th in adjusted efficiency defense so far on the year, and still sitting at number 1 in assist rate on the year. So when we look at Bart Torvik, they have North Carolina as the number 20th ranked team in the country currently. Number 16th they are in the AP poll. And then Michigan State, Bart Torvik has them at number 16 so far in the year. AP poll got them at number 11. So another top 25 matchup for Michigan State on the young season. This will be their third. But anyway, Bart Torvik has this as a 76-74 Michigan State win. So listen, I think this is going to be a stressful game because I think it's going to be close in this one, and excited to see how Michigan State comes out in this one because it seems like they came out. I know the beginning of the game against East Carolina was a little close, but the first half as a whole, like obviously I'm not saying North Carolina is East Carolina, but the way Michigan State was playing, talked about the crispness of them, the connectiveness on defense, getting out running, but then the ball movement on offense as well. Obviously being number 1 in assist rate, you will see that, but just absolutely loved how they came out. You're going to need that again in this game, North Carolina. And obviously, Michigan State has a strong showing there as well, but obviously Florida is a lot closer to North Carolina than it is to Michigan State. So I definitely think it'll be a 50-50 gym as well. Neutral site game, yes, but I think that it's going to be a good atmosphere down there, and excited to see, we saw how they responded in the Champions Classic on a neutral site game as well. So hoping they can have a similar response in this one, as we're getting into, this was kind of, this is starting that kind of 3-4 game stretch here for Michigan State when, North Carolina, then Iowa and Duke at home, and then Penn State on the road. Your 2 Big Ten games in there, 2 games against the ACC in there. Kind of, really this very important, in my opinion, 2-week stretch here. And then of the 4 main non-conference matchups, this is number 3. Obviously, you got out with a win against Arkansas and a win against Kentucky as well. We said you needed to at least go 2-2. You're 2-0 so far. Would love to go 3-1 or 4-0. That's definitely on the table. That's possible when you're looking ahead. Duke, you're only a 1-point underdog in that one. You're a 2-point favorite in this one against North Carolina, but need to handle business against North Carolina first. Going to be a tough game overall, but anyway, looking forward to it. But anyway, we'll be back with a recap for this one afterwards. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.